All right, so we're gonna be going ahead and replacing these front tires on the D4506. Yeah, they've seen better days, and they're 6.5 rating. Got the loader on the front. When you have that loader up, I mean, these sidewalls are just rolling all over the place. So yep, got a new set, and we'll get those on and check out how it goes. Quick rundown of tools of the trade that you're gonna need. I have one of these Harbor Freight tire changers bolted to the floor. I just got this. I've been for many years just changing tires on the floor on a piece of cardboard. So yeah, the other items that you're gonna need are some tire spoons. Here I have some big ones here from Harbor Freight, and here's a small eco set of motorcycle tire spoons. Got them off of Amazon years ago. I use this tire spoon for almost everything. My smooth lip there actually pretty much serves me well almost all the time. One of your best friends ever for changing tires is going to be the soapy water. That's literally all it is, just dish soap and water. And then lastly, if you're going to be working with a tube type tire, which we'll be doing today, one of these valve stem fishing tool. You can pick this up at Walmart in the auto section. Any auto parts store, any tractor store should have these. A couple dollars. This lets you keep track of that valve stem, so it doesn't fall inside the tire. It's also nice because it has a valve stem cord removal tool on one end and a bleeder tool on the other. So everything all in one for a couple bucks there. All right, so the basic steps for changing out a tire that you have here is you're going to get the air out of the old tire. And then what can oftentimes prove the most challenging, you have to break the bead. By breaking the bead, what that means is when the tire gets inflated, it seats up tight against this metal rim. And even if you let all the air out, most tires, it's not going to pop off the rim easily. So breaking that bead can be challenging. There's no shortage of all sorts of creative ways of doing that if you don't have a bead breaker tool. So yeah, if you don't have a bead breaker tool like the tire changer, you can definitely look up different ideas for breaking the bead. Probably many hundreds of them online, all creative. A lot of them get the job done, especially if you're not worried about saving the old tire. Your first one will probably take you a long time, but once you learn, it's a lot faster. The first thing you're gonna do for changing the tire is get the air out of the old tire and make sure that it stays out. You're gonna remove the valve stem. Again, just using this tool. I mean, you don't need to use the tool, but it's nice. It's got a little thing. You just thread it on there, and it just bleeds it out. Now you can go off and do something else. All right, now there's out. Just take this little tool and flip it around. It's got two flats on here that correspond with the valve stem. Basically, just carefully wiggle it back and forth. You feel it engage. And then that's a little tight. So again, try to avoid using penetrating oil on a lot of the tire stuff. It can attack the rubber. I mean, I know I'm going to be putting it in the tube, but either way, I just got a little bit of soapy water here just to help lubricate that valve stem seal, or that valve stem, which is apparently very tight in there. Back and forth to get that core loosened up. There we go. So yeah, again, soapy water, that'll be your friend when you're working on tires. So that just unthreads. Okay. This is the way the bead breaker on the Harbor Freight tire changer works, at least. You scoot it up nice and close on the base. This lever arm comes down, and you kind of fish that thing right between your rim and your wheel there. And then you have a Where did I put it? Oh, there it is. Got a long pole that goes into the end here. And then you push down. And this isn't staged, this is straight off the tractor, so let's see how this goes. Thinking about it. Probably overkill with the soapy water, but all right, try round 2 here with both hands. 3, since I was holding myself in before. There it goes. That's what it looks like when you have the bead broken. Pops right off the rim here. There's the rim, there's the tire. Then just work your way around and get that bead fully broken on the one side. For the bead broken on one side, just flip the tire over, rinse and repeat. Now I'm spraying it on the top of, right at the joint here on the tire. It's not gonna go in now, but once you start trying to break that bead, it's all lined up, and that soapy water will try to flow down into the seam. Alright. Yeah, and once it breaks in one spot, you can just usually just take your, once it breaks in one spot, you can just take your foot and just step it off the rim to break it around nice and quick. Okay, so now with the bead broken, next step's going to be to throw it up in the tire changer and get the old tire off the rim. This one you just fish one lug nut holes through this. Got a little threaded piece that comes down on top here. That just cinches your tire down, so everything's just nice and solid and not moving around on you. Tube type tires are nice. They really help with setting the bead, but one of the downfalls of them is the dreaded tube pinch. Basically what pinching the tube means is you're either taking the tire off or on, and during one of your prying operations, you get the tire spoon not directly against the tire. You get it you get the tube pinched between. And this is just a rubber inner tube, so you can imagine that would give you a nice little tear in your tube. And often you don't realize this till you're all done. You get everything put back together, go to inflate it, and then you hear the dreaded hissing, and you have a pinched tube because you've damaged it. So, moral of the story, when you're working on a tube type tire, take your time, and always, if you have any shadow of a doubt that you might have the tube in there, just stop, reach down with your fingers, and make sure that you do not have the tube between the tire and the rim. It's really a downer when you get it all done and and your tube's leaking. I have been there a few times. So for taking this off, again, I'm not saving this tube, but good practice. And to show you, basically, if you reach around, you can feel that tube is almost adhered. So I'm just going around with my hand and just push this tube all the way down as far as I can and get it basically unglued from the tire. Just gonna go all the way around and just get it unstuck from the tire and just push it down as far as I can, so that way I'm not tearing it up when I'm taking off the tire. Okay, so I'm just gonna use tire spoons to take this off instead of looking at the big bar going around the center post. So again, more soapy water here. Helps everything. Oh, sorry, did I get you a soapy water? Alrighty. So then you just take tire spoons just underneath the edge, make sure that you don't have the tube in there. And then these are a couple inches apart. You pull, they pop right up. And then just hold them with your hand. Great, thank you. You just hold them. And then you basically just take the spoon and you just go right underneath the edge. You don't need to take big chunks, actually. It's just faster to take smaller pieces and move along. But you just take the spoon, slide it in right underneath. You feel it go underneath the edge of the tire here. And you flip it over. Then you can hold this one, which is the new end, pop out the middle one. And you just work your way around. Again, it's a lot easier just to take just an inch or two. Don't waste your time trying to take off monstrous bites. You're better off just, taking a couple extra seconds and just walking it out slower. Another set of hands to hold the spoons is nice, but you can see here, you can do it by yourself. I've always done it typically solo, so. All right, so just a couple seconds. Now you're halfway off. You got one half the tire off. Okay, at this point, since we have a tube type tire, I'll just lift up like this. Got plenty of room there. Gonna finagle in here, and then carefully pull out this tube. This tube was holding air and I took it out, so again, I'm not reusing this, but I'm going to be gentle enough with it so that way if I do run into a bind, I can at least save this as a spare tube in case I have an issue in the future. Not new, but still functional. So, all right, so now that you got the tube out, basically you're just gonna take the rest of the tire up and off. So I'm gonna lift it up here, and then you can see, you can almost see that gap there. So sometimes you can actually just pull them off. This one might, not worth it. In this case, I will use this bar for this. Pop this underneath, get this through. Spoon would work for this as well. And then I'm just gonna go just around in a circle here. Yeah, again, the spoon will work just fine, or any bar just to slide that off the rest of the way. There you go. Old tire is off. First thing you want to do is take a section of your tire that's going to be interfacing to the rim. Stick your water in there. All right, so now we're going to put this on the rim. We're going to push one side down, get as much of that onto the rim as you possibly can. Okay, so with that soap on there, you're just going to try to push as much as you can down by hand. Got the tire spoon, slip it underneath the rim, hold it. If you have an extra set of hands, someone can hold it, that's great. Otherwise, I just kind of wedge that up against my side here. And then we're just going to take small bites again. We'll keep my weight into the tire here so I don't lose my progress. Again, I'm just taking off just an inch or two per this through from underneath. Then I've got a good bit on from underneath, flipping around, tacking from the top a little bit. I'm just slipping that spoon through the rim and popping it over like this. There we go. Oftentimes, one of the things is you really want to make sure whichever direction you're pushing with the spoons, always have the tire pushed as far as possible in that direction on the rim. Sometimes that's overlooked, and just giving it a whack and pushing in the direction that you're going gives you that extra 3/16 or 1/8 inch that you need. Okay, so now that we got the tire halfway mounted here, now we're going to go and do the tube insertion here. Alrighty, so here's the new inner tube that came with the tire. You can see one thing that's worth doing is whenever you got tube type tires, if you had the tube that came out, you can see this one's here. It's got the valve stem pretty much oriented right there on the location of the tire or tube. Take the other one here, you can see basically the same orientation. tubes do come with the valve stems in various locations to support different rim styles. So very frustrating if you have the valve stem on a new tube in the incorrect location for your wheel. I've had that happen before I learned to check that. You got it, you're going there, it's like you're trying to inflate the tire, and as you're doing it, the valve stem's sucking back in, or something doesn't even line up at all. And yeah, it can definitely be frustrating. So I'm gonna basically feed it in starting on the valve stem side first. So you just lift up your tire, bring it on in, work both sides. You can adjust it once it's in there, but I prefer to get it as close to the mark on the first try. Make sure you don't got any kinks or folds. Just put it in nice and flat, kind of keeping it at the shape that it started with. Some people like to put a little bit of air in these so they take shape. I don't know. I've never felt the need to do that, but I can see maybe that's helpful in some situations with different size tires. Either way. So basically what I'm doing now is I got, about a quarter of the way in here. Going back to our valve stem fishing tool. So you feed this in from the outside. Go inside the tire. Taking this, gonna thread it. See that in the video. Yep. So we're gonna thread this. When you thread that, you don't need to go super, super tight, but definitely thread it all the way down. That way you have maximum, when you're pulling on all the threads equally. You're not gonna deform the threads. And also when you're coming up through the rim, you're not gonna tear any of the threads up. Now that thing's threaded on there, we don't have to worry about losing our valve stem here inside the tire. I'm gonna leave that there. All right, so tube is all the way around the rim now. So this thing's coming off at a sharp angle, so just take it and you can just gently rotate the tire until everything lines up. There's the valve stem tool in use. You can see you just, have that nice big handle. You're never gonna lose that valve stem. Got Marshall? See a fire pup? Oh, Marshall is the goofy one, right? Yeah, Marshall is something. Yeah, Marshall. Maybe I'm kind of like Marshall. Okay, so as this tire's in here, what I'm doing now is I'm just lifting it up slightly, feeling around, making sure that I don't have the tube right up on the rim anywhere. There's a little close there, just kind of pushing down best I can. I always start on either side of the valve stem for mounting the other side of the tire. That way, you have the most control where the tube's going to be closest to the rim. Yep, you can hold it. You can hold that forward. Alrighty, so back to the soapy water. Slick layer of soap on there. And you're just going to go over the edge of the rim. As soon as you feel it go over the top of the rim, that's it. You got there. That's all you need to do is just hook over the top. Nothing else, because you don't want to pinch that tube. You'd be a little bit more cavalier with the tubeless tire, but not with the tube in there. Okay, so I'm there, feeling with my fingers, making sure I don't have the tube near that rim. And now, again, wiggle them up just a little bit, just over the edge of there. Dropping it down. My leg here. Take my next spoon here. Again, don't need big bites. Just as soon as you get to that rim, you don't pinch that tube. There we go. Soapy water always help. There we go. All right, for setting the bead with the tube type tire here, what I do is I pull this up, and then I have a pair of vice grips here. These are not set very tight at all. They're just enough. Just grip that and hold it without digging in or damaging that. That rubber's not going to tear that rubber at all. I have it set pretty darn loose, basically just enough to hold it in place. Reason for that is sometimes the tube, before it finds its home location while you're filling it up, you know, if it needs to sort itself out in there, I've had it where it'll like try to basically suck back into the tire, which is no fun because then you have to take the tire off to get the tube back out. So let's not do that. Yeah, much easier on a tube type tire since you don't need to worry about getting a bunch of air in there all at the same time. So here's definitely one of the very important spots for having lubrication on the rim, the edge of the tire. So I'm going to do this on the top side here. Soapy water. I'm also going to go down around here on the bottom. Get that in there as well. Alrighty. Some tires will have a listing that says, you know, max inflation to set bead. Have it on there. These tires are listed at, you know, service pressure of 54 psi. So, you know, I'm not going to go anything above that. With the tube, it's really easy. What you're looking for is just, you know, take your time and you want the tire to basically just look uniform all the way around. This one has multiple ribs. You'll see all of them. The spacing will be equal, both sides. If you have a spot that's funky, typically what I do is I, you know, let the air out, you know, maybe bounce the tire a couple times and line it up. If you have a spot that's not setting right, make sure you get some extra soap or water in there. I typically wear hearing protection. Once I had a lawnmower tire that had a defect in it and it exploded or blew out the defect. It was very loud, not quite fun. So I've just always worn hearing protection for the first time I inflate any brand new tire. All right, so again, service pressure about 54 psi. This tire put about 35 psi in there. Just stopping for a quick sanity check, making sure everything looks good. It does so far. Got nice equal, you know, these ribs here, which are nice indicators. They're equal all the way around the rim. Check the bottom. Good, nice and even. Don't need pliers anymore. We got the air in there. Valve stem's coming out nice and straight, not crooked, not being bent in any funky direction. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this up to 50 psi now. All right. Hopefully this was helpful to you. If it was, you know, give the video a thumbs up. If you have any questions, any comments, criticisms, thoughts, feelings, leave them in the comment section below. Always interested what you guys have to say, what you think about, you know, the stuff I'm working on here. And lastly, if you want, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That helps me out. And also, whenever I'm working on whatever the new project is, you get a little notification when I post that video. And hopefully it's hopefully these videos are helpful with whatever you're working on. So thanks again for watching, and go out there and have fun.